marriage is definitely a journey. It takes a lot of patience. Marriage takes a lot of wisdom.
I think women have got work to do as well. Younger women have got work to do in 100%. Terms of becoming someone's wife. You see what I'm saying? I know we focus a lot on the men and what we could do to be better.
How do you deal with conflict in the marriage? You know, we all face testing times in the marriage, and I think it's something that most people just don't know how to deal with. You know, it's okay just to go in separate rooms and pretend you can sweep underneath the carpet and start again tomorrow. But how do you actually, in a mature way, deal with conflict?
Welcome to another episode of Dads Divulge. We've got a very, very special guest in the building today. You know, my longtime friend, a guy that, you know, oozes wisdom, project manager, minister, gospel artist, and father of three. Reblah, how you doing, my bro?
Love. It's always an honor, privilege to see both of you, my brothers, for a long time now. And I'm just blessed. That's all I can say. I'm very blessed. Life is good. Family is good. In good health, good spirit. So,
good, man. Good to hear.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, guys. I mean, another episode of Dads Divulge. Firstly, the most important bit, you know, get onto our YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's very important to us. You know, leave a comment. Let us know what you want to hear about. Let us know what you liked about the episode, etc. And we're also on Spotify as well. So follow us on Spotify. As soon as the episode comes out, you will hear it. So, Rebs, talk to me. This episode today is marriage really worth it in 2021? We're all married men here. Yeah. It's a hot seat conversation, right? So, you know, we're all married here. And talk to us. Give us a bit of background about yourself and, you know, what the marriage journey has been like for you.
My marriage personally is beautiful, but marriage can be bittersweet. Do you get what I mean? And I feel like, funny enough, like even today, like more or less, I'm a man who, you know, I usually would love to push and encourage people into marriage. I think even from the last time we all spoke as a collective, you know, I was a flag and an advocate of marriage, but I feel like there's so many obstacles for so many different individuals, and it takes a lot of different mindsets to be able to handle marriage properly. For me, myself, I've been married going nearly 7 years. I'll be 7 years in September of marriage. You know, I'm married in September 20th, 2014. And by God's grace, we're still going strong. I love my wife dearly. So for me, you know, I got to get those brownie points. Got to get those.
It's only right.
But marriage is definitely a journey. It takes a lot of patience. Marriage takes a lot of wisdom. And, you know, marriage, you know, is a lot to do with love. But I look at love from a standpoint, from a very different standpoint from what other people look at love, but as you said, you know, let the wisdom flow. So I'm happy to share that today.
Good, man. Good. So, you know, what would you say the benefits of marriage have been for you? What are the plus points for you? You know, we all know that it's not rosy, as you said. It's not all plain sailing, but, you know, how has it affected you as a man? How has it changed you as a man?
My wife has had a major input in my life in changing me, especially from a standpoint of growing up in Southeast London. I feel like a lot of us are educated, smart, but we don't know how to conduct ourselves in a professional manner. I feel like my wife has definitely helped in regards to that. Obviously today, you get what I mean, it's a dress down day. And, you know, Ryan is beating us all to it, but, you know, if I got the memo, I can do the husband father mode as well. But I think, yeah, like my wife has been very, supportive in thriving me to get to a new level educational wise. You know, as you mentioned, talking about project management and stuff like that. She was a very, big support in supporting in getting me into those kind of avenues and in those spaces, which I guess, you know, young bucks from Southeast London don't have a clue, about, you know, yeah, so it's been a wonderful journey. I would say the benefits of marriage for me, obviously I have a companion, I have a best friend, I have someone who can always pray for me. I have someone who, when I'm down, she can pick me up, you know? So I think for me, there have been quite a few benefits in marriage, whether that be financially, whether that be emotionally. Do you get what I mean? All aspects. So, but it does have its challenges as well, if you want me to be a real open book, you know?
And you know what, like before you got married, you know, thinking about marriage, what were your thoughts on marriage? Like what led you to say, you know what, this is for me, this is the step I'm going to take?
Yeah, I think obviously it was me getting my relationship right with, you know, Christ Jesus. I think that had a big input in where I was looking to take my life. I think also looking back at a household where things are together, whether it be through cousins or friends, you know, seeing people in that setup, you know, where mother and father are heavily involved in the children's life. You know, not saying that every child from that kind of scenario is successful, but I would say majority.
It does make a big difference, yeah.
It makes a massive difference. If you look at what's happening today, a lot of, you know, the knife and gun crime and some of the scenarios, a lot of these kids are just products of broken homes. You know, they're very vulnerable. They want to feel loved. They want to be encouraged. And I think that has a major part to play. You know.
Well, I think the stats are out there. The stats are out there. I mean, the stats are similar to something like, so the children raised in married families are more likely to attend college, are physically and emotionally healthier, are less likely to be physically or sexually abused, are less likely to use drugs or alcohol and to commit delinquent behaviors, have a decreased risk of divorcing when they get married, and are less likely to become pregnant or impregnate someone as a teenager. So that's quite a long list of things. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes you don't really take that into account, but you know, it's proven that marriage has its benefits, especially when it comes to raising children.
I need that list, you know, when I'm sharing these sermons, brother. You know, because you can just see there the way that, you know, kind of God ordained the matrimony of marriage. And the amount of people that you'll come across that will tell you in 2021 that I don't need to be married. You know, the stats and facts.
And why do you think that is though? Why do you think people have that kind of idea towards marriage nowadays?
I think and the reason why I changed my standpoint on marriage nowadays, because everybody seems to believe that they're Kanye West or Bill Gates. You know, you can see right now, you know, Dr. Dre, all these people, the money, they have all the money in the world, but still, you know, the wife isn't happy. And it's a scenario now where majority of people are feeling like, if this person can't be happily married, how is this individual, that individual, or how am I, you know, how is my marriage gonna work? But but for me, I'm a bit more blessed from the standpoint of, I feel like my foundation is different from theirs. So my relationship never stemmed on, you know, me, you know, whining and dining my girl with all the money in the world. You know, I wasn't established when I met my wife. Still not established now. Do you get what I mean? And
you're on the path, though, man.
On the path,
on the
man,
path,
on the road.
definitely on the path. But you know, she's there. She's a rock. You know, she's a Proverbs 31 suitable helper. You know.
Cool.
More precious than rubies.
That's it. Another tick point there. Brownie point number 2. There you go.
So,
no, you made a really interesting point there around, your different motivations, and I think that is probably one of the biggest differences now. When we look at our parents' age, they were looking for a suitable partner, and I don't think like there were maybe as many outside distractions or forces to kind of put them in different places. But I think now it's very difficult, and that's why you're right. A lot of people are looking at Jeff Bezos. They're looking at Bill Gates. They're looking at all these people, thinking, well, if they can't,
entanglement.
They're looking at the entanglements. Right, that's it. But I think people need to look at their own scenario. You are not Bill Gates. You're not Jeff Bezos. You need to look at your own situation. Right?
Do you think that though? There's more obstacles though nowadays for young people, young boys and young women growing up and really trying to find someone that they can potentially marry.
I feel like social media is destroying. It's benefiting. Like for those who are mentally stable, it's benefiting those individuals, but it's destroying others. It's almost like a relationship now it's like you buy dates. It's like, oh, he took me here, so automatically he drives this, so automatically he's got that. Do you get what I mean? It's like there's no longer getting to know people in this day and age. It's like, does this person tick about 70% of my requirements before I can decide whether this is going to be someone I spend the rest of my life with? And I think, and that has changed within a short period of time. Like, think about it. I've been married 7 years. It wasn't even that bad 7 years ago, but I feel like in the last 3 to 4 years, these kind of little things have ramped up more and more 100%. Now.
100%. Because you got apps now that, you can meet people in seconds. Do you know what I'm saying? 100%. Like the whole process of finding out someone now has changed dramatically. 100%. So it makes it much harder. And it you know what? It makes it easier as well. It makes it, things are much more disposable nowadays as well. So
it's not valued as much.
Yeah, it's not valued as much. So, as you even said, it's changed in the last few years. Like it definitely wasn't like this, when we were kind of coming up, and it definitely wasn't like this when our parents were coming up. But now it's like you might meet someone, they don't meet your requirements, or you get into one little argument with that person and that's it, you're done with them. You're not even trying to put the effort in to actually make it work. And we all know that that's what you need when you're married and leading up to getting married.
Yeah, perseverance. Perseverance is needed, and I think the patience isn't there anymore. A shinier toy is over there, so they're like, he does this or she does this now, so actually I might as well just part exchange and whatever, do your own thing.
So but what would say, you're talking to a young man, let's say at church. What's the advice that you would give him? Say he's come to you and said, listen, I want to get married. I'm struggling to find someone. What would you advise him as a minister, as a man?
Galatians chapter 5, they follow the fruits of the Holy Spirit. Love, joy, peace, long suffering, patience, and also Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind, love keeps no record of wrongs. I feel like love trusts, it's not proud, it doesn't boast. These kind of things there is what I would advise. The blueprint's there. Do you get what I mean? But doing it is a different thing. Do you get what I mean? So
there's someone listening now who doesn't understand how you just put that. Maybe they don't go to church or whatnot. How would that translate?
It's simple, isn't it? Patience, as perseverance. A lot of people think they can persevere. It's like now, for instance, you guys have got your podcast. It's taken a perseverance even to get to the level to me. I'm sure you've done so many different episodes. Now that's a burning desire within you because you've already accepted within your mindset that it's going to work. Do you get what I mean? It's like there are some people that they can't actually have a job. I've got friends that they can't have a job because they just don't wake up on time. Do you understand? So in life, it's that mentality is that you have to really stare. Like, I'm sure my wife was thinking when I married her, like people were looking at me thinking, why are you looking at this girl like so much? It was because it was like, bruv, this has to work. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm holding accountability for myself. Do you understand? As long as there's no, do you get what I mean? Like going outside of the marriage, do you get what I mean? Then we can work. Do you get what I mean? No matter what it is, you know, we can grow. Do you get what I mean? Like whether it be the way we communicate, that can change over time. Do you get what? All of these things. And I feel like, you know, if I was going to give advice to a man, I just think, obviously coming from a biblical standpoint, it says love your wife as Christ loves the church. So I just feel like you just got to take the burden as a man a little bit harder, because women usually tend to go through seasonal emotions and stuff like that. You know, and we're called to be more or less their protectors, providers, the whole shebang, but just be their rocks in times of trouble. And sometimes that can be hard. Do you get what I mean? Like, if that was your bedroom, just, babe, you just be like, bro, get lost. Do you get what I mean? But I feel like when it's your wife, you just have to kind of give that bit more grace, be more gracious, you know?
But you know, someone that hasn't been married yet, someone who wants to get married, who has looked at the idea and thought, you know what, that's on my list. That's on my list. I want to get married, but I just don't know. I don't know how to go about it. You know, I may be seeing a woman at the moment. I may be seeing multiple women, but I don't know how to take the next step. Yeah, how to take the next step. What would be your advice to that person?
My advice to that person will be, in general, just to make sure that my best advice when it comes to these kind of things is that, first of all, that person has to be your friend. Do you get what I mean?
Facts.
You have to be inseparable. Like, you can't, you know, you want to be around that person, whether they annoy you or not. It's just that them in your environment it still works. Do you get what I mean? I think another bit of advice I would give is that you have to be able to get along with family. Because I feel like, you know, just being like, if we're going to drop the real gems in this, all of us know that our marriage isn't just about us, me and our missus, we go, it's, bro, like, you
family
know,
has a
my
major
mother-in-law,
part to play.
whether it be my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, they're all my family. Like, we're all,
you inherit them.
You inherit them.
You inherit
do you get what
family,
I mean? Like, 100%. If mother-in-law wants to go airport and you've heard it, you know what that means.
That's it.
Do you get what I mean? And I think, you know, we kind of, a lot of people don't understand that. I feel like a lot of people may have a partner, but they don't understand it's just not about you and that partner.
100%.
It's also about, you know, do you get along with the mum and dad? Even if you got to try, you got to make sure you get along. Do you get what I mean? And, you know, there has to be that kind of family time as a unit. I think that's important. I think respect is very, very important from both ends. I think certain conversations need to be had, and just, you know, maybe having, like, I would say before I got married, we did counseling before the marriage. And that's something that I would encourage a lot of, you know, people who are looking to get into a marriage, you know, really have that counsel in place so that you can hear the real nitty gritty from the get go and look at scenarios and think about, you know, how would you really deal with that, you know? And I think that really helps.
And that's what I'm saying, Rebs. Like, it's many people overlook that factor, the family factor, how important they are, and, you know, how much of an important role they play in your life. You know what I'm saying? I know when people get together young, sometimes they feel like it's just me and you to the end. We don't need no one. Yeah, it don't matter who's got any disagreements about us or whatever. But they really play an important factor, and outside forces, especially family, can make or break your relationship or your marriage.
100%. for me, I would just say it's just best to get along with the family. And that's something that you kind of have to know from before you even sign that dotted line.
100%. Would you say that? Sorry, would you say that if there's a toxic relationship between you and the family, would you say that's a reason to not get married in the first place?
No, because I get along with my mother-in-law, so she's actually blessed, and by God's grace, vice versa. Do you get what I mean? I know my mother. But
I'm saying in general. In general, would you say that's
it's dangerous, bro. If it don't work between the family, it's a red flag, man. Like
it's a common problem.
I've seen a lot of marriages go downhill because of unsupportive mother-in-laws and father-in-laws and stuff like that. I've seen them crumble. Do you get what I mean? I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, but it's just gonna take extra work, because I feel like all of us know here that our missus love their families a lot, no matter. Do you get what I mean? They might say to you, "Oh yeah, like me and you today." Do you get what I mean? But every other weekend they're still at mum's. Do you get what I mean? So I feel like, I just feel like it's a big factor. Like you have to, for me, like just upon my own experience and reflection of marriage, it's hard for people who, if you don't get along with the family members, like you just gotta get along with their family, bro. I think it helps. Was it one
of your fears leading up to the marriage?
I don't think, no, because I think before I got married, the age I wasn't really that clued up. I just knew that it was right. I knew that it was what I wanted to do, but I kind of went in like blind. Do you get what I mean? I just knew I loved my woman, and I knew that I was going to work my hardest to build toward establishing that relationship and, making it. And I think an important thing that I would say that, we've got our own common understanding and our own common boundaries that work for us, that we've agreed to. So like our boundaries may be different from both you and your wife's boundaries. Do you get what I mean? But I feel like not a lot of people will understand what we've agreed to. But we've agreed to it and it works for our marriage, and we're both happy in that.
100%.
I think you touched on a good point there, because you have to think about what works for you and your partner, and not necessarily what works for everyone else. It's about how well you know your partner at the end of the day. Yeah, you have to know 100%. Your partner to a certain extent, and I think that may be why people probably think, you know what, if that couple over there looks like it's kind of gold and it's all solid, it's not working, then what chance do I have? That is a good point.
I love that, because I feel like you're touching on more right now, because naturally, before it's all good, you're with a woman, she's good looking. Do you get what I mean? You're fly. Do you get what I mean? But you just don't ask transparent, open questions, brother. And I think right now it's easy. It's actually easier to settle down than we think, but we just don't hit the horse on the head, bro. We don't ask questions that we're unsure of, because we don't want things to go, do you get what I mean, unsmooth, or we don't want things to go a bit sour. But I just say, let it get sour and see what happens. Because
I do
it's meant to be,
I think it's, when you say easier to settle down, nowadays, I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on that, because, I would say back in the day when we were growing up, I would say we as men had more work to do. You see what I'm saying? We knew, like, if you look back on things, you can probably say most of the upset and most of the troubles caused was due to maybe what we were doing or what we weren't doing.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I think as much as men have got work to do, I think women have got work to do as well. Younger women have got work to do in 100%. Terms of becoming someone's wife. You see what I'm saying? I know we focus a lot on the men and what we could do to be better, but there's another side to it as well. You see what I'm saying? There's another side that I think young women now, some of them, I should say, I'm not going to say all of them, but some of them are just not ready to take on that role. As much as they might say, I want to get married, do you know what it means to be someone's wife outside of turning up on the aisle on the day?
That's what it comes into the motivations. What are their motivations to get married? Because if we've got to do so much legwork to be prepared, have yourself already set up, be mature enough, be ready to start a family. Yeah. Well, then, what kind of things do they need to step up and do as well? And I think that's probably, a lot more of the emphasis is on the man, like you said, Ryan. I think the emphasis is more on the guys to kind of get serious. And it's like, I don't know if women check their between their peers to say, girls, are we serious enough to be married? I don't know if they do that.
I do believe they're a bit more closed. But I think you're both right. Actions always speak louder than words. And a lot of, from what I've noticed through just people that I've come across in my life journey, there are a lot of women who they want a wedding day. They don't want a marriage.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? There's a lot of them that want, all the bells and whistles. Do you get what I mean? The shiny white horse and do you get what I mean? The long white dress and, the day that they dream of from since a kid. But really and truly, at the end of the day, if all that is just a major expense that, do you get what I mean? You scratch your head for. And it's not the marriage, which is more important. It's a wedding day. And the marriage comes with a lot of hard work. And if you don't, everyone has themselves to blame if it doesn't. Do you get what I mean? Like if a marriage doesn't work, maybe outside of cheating, a lot of the time it's because, what work were you putting into it? Do you get what I mean? Yeah. Like in general for this, it takes work to make it work, to make it flourish, to make it prosper.
Yeah.
It's the same as marriage. It's like, I look at, a relationship sometimes is like a work environment. You also have to sit down and have that one-to-one every now and again. Whether
it's a business, bro. It might sound crazy, but it's a business. Like,
bro,
the fairy tale of marriage is, the lovey-dovey will be there forever together and look into each other's eyes every day. But the day-to-day running of the marriage and the family, it's like a business. Like you have to have regular meetings. You have to do all your due diligence you have to do it
100%
all day, every day. You have to check up on your employees, which are your kids. I'm saying,
exactly.
Because they're doing well,
and the welfare,
and everyone has to be pulling their weight some way, shape, or form. I think because the thing is, I feel like the way society is set up today is very. Do you get what I mean? I feel like especially the corporate professional environment. I feel like nowadays it's more in favor of women. I feel like rather than black men, do you get what I mean? But then at the same time, if you're not putting in the work to kind of change your circumstance or scenario, I had a conversation with one of my friends before I even, had this podcast today, and it's just that some people are in the same place from 10 to 15 years ago. Do you get what I mean? And it's a mindset, and at the end of the day, it is inspiring to know that there's always going to be growth. There's always going to be fruitfulness in your matrimony. But, sometimes when things are like still, it's just back to the drawing board, isn't it? You got to sit down and get sit in the office and have the one-to-one and like,
something's not working. Yeah.
I think people rock up at the church on the day and then they say, Jesus, take the wheel. And that's it. They think their job's done. Once they rock up at church on that day and get married, that's it. Our job's done. We're married now. And naturally, it's just gonna, with God's grace, and I know God comes into it, but you have to do the work as well. You have to do the work as well.
Or it can crumble. It can crumble.
Exactly. How about even that? If I'm gonna be real, because the thing is, the good thing is, I know this whole Jesus thing. I read the book all the time, and it's like Jesus even says himself, "Faith without works is dead." If you don't put in the work. Like, you see all the talk here, for me, I hear it all, bro. Yeah. I hear it. But if I am not seeing the action following it through, bro,
it's just a joke.
Yeah, bro, it's just an anti-uncle thing. Like, do you get what I mean? I need to see the action. I need you proactive in what you're talking about. And that's the only way.
You know, I've known you for years, bro. And you know, you've been married to your missus for a long, is it 7 years? You said you've been married?
Yeah. Going on 7 years. So in the next couple months, it'll be 7 years.
For all those 7 years, I could say like the way you sing your missus's praises, bro, is mad. I think any woman, you know, that's looking to get married would probably need to look up to her as a woman and take some things from
versa,
that.
Bro.
What would you say as a man? You know, what would you say to a woman? What attributes do you feel like a woman in this day and age needs to hold down a marriage? You know, as I said, we always talk about men.
I'll be real with you. I'm so blessed. Like my missus, she is a serious rock from like, you know, like some relationships, naturally as a man, you want to take on board all the responsibility. But my brother, like my missus goes hard. Do you get what I mean? Like she's a very hard working wife. And do you get what I mean? And there are some things that will take a hit when it's like that. Do you get what I mean? But for me, we have our understanding. She's thriving. And you know, I want her to continue to propel as well as I will propel. But it has its pros and cons. And I feel like a lot of women, they just want, he has to have this, he has to have that. Where my missus didn't look at me with that lens. She knew what I could potentially be. And she was that Proverbs 31. You know, she's very supportive in my gospel music, where sometimes that can be very expensive. She's the type of person that will actually, you know, put that into your music or put that into this. Do you get what I mean? And that's sometimes even her hard working money. Just me being honest and transparent. So we're a team. Do you get what I mean? Like I always want to do the best for her, take her out, but she's also the same. You know, she's the type of wife that she will say, let me take out the family. Do you get what I mean? So sometimes I feel like, brother, this is the best life. Do you get what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, like as a man, you're working hard and you're thinking, damn, if I'm empty, I'm empty. Like your brain will always go into panic attack. But I realized having my wife, I don't have to really worry.
Yeah, it's a solid backbone.
It's a solid backbone, bro. It's certified. Whereas I hear what some other brothers are going through, and it's mad. Like some man, yeah, just like take
an anchor
yeah,
tied to the
leg. golden handcuff.
But I feel like it's a two-way street. Do you get what I mean? Everybody's got hands, everybody's got legs, everyone's got a brain. Let's just all try and get this bread. Do you get what I mean? As you said, it's a business. You know, just like you both are my brothers. You know, we can discuss business and financial perks, but sometimes it's important to do that in your marriage. It shouldn't just be, oh yeah, because let's be transparent and take it there. Like marriage is more than sex. Do you get what I mean? Marriage is more than these kind of things. Do you get what I mean? Like, so we need to.
I think that's the problem for maybe some women, where they think that their part of the deal is just going to be, you know what, I'm going to offer you a sexual relationship, and that's my part done. And then everything else is for you to do. And I think they're getting it twisted. I think some women are getting it twisted in that respect. Because if you think about it, as a married man, as all of us are married men, as you said, it's more than just that. And for me, it's someone I can work with. It's someone that can push me, someone I can push, someone who someone I can build with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And 100%. it goes past that sex phase relatively early. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
But I think it's down, you know, it's down to as well. This is where, you know, we touched on media earlier. Is media portraying that right image of marriage though? Because if media is portraying, you know, the attractive woman, the hustler wife, and then, you know, she looks like she doesn't do much, and therefore women are thinking, well, why do I have to go and do X, Y, and Z?
Real Housewives of
I think sometimes if the excuse is, well, I'm going to have your kids, so that's what I'm putting to the table. Don't get me
Nah,
wrong.
bro. We all had the kids. Those kids say mommy and daddy, brother. We all got the kids, brother.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, though. Don't get me wrong. It is a massive sacrifice for a woman to have a child, right? To drop out of the career race if that's what they're on, and to
brother,
sacrifice a lot of their time.
You gave birth 10 years ago, brother. Like, get off your ass, bro. Do you get what I mean? It's like, let's just be real, bro. Everyone's got to pull their weight, bro. Like, I think in the way society's set up here, like, maybe if you lot were back in yard or I was in Africa, do you get what I mean? The sun's all shining. Oh, yo, baby. You get what I mean? It's nice, isn't it? That's easy. But I feel like the way this environment is set up, you're right. Bro, you're only about two monthly payments from losing your mortgage, my brother. Yeah. So everyone has to, do you get what I mean? It's a lot of stress to put on one person, no matter how much you're earning.
Yeah, it is. But you know what the thing is? I would say that some people it works for. And do you know what? I could only talk for myself and the people that I know. That approach to marriage from certain women ain't gonna run. Like I'll be honest, you know, you can sit down there and wait for that man to come. You can wait for him, but
bro,
I doubt he will be coming. You know what I'm saying? I doubt he'll be showing up at your door. Because most men, when it comes to marriage, I'm not talking about dating or linking or whatever it is. When it comes to actually committing, most men want a woman that they can build with and that who can push him to do better. It's not just one of those things like, you know, you're my trophy wife and you just sit there and, you know, no. You know what I'm saying? I feel there's much more to it.
And I think every relationship has that, you know, sometimes it's not even that, like sometimes it's about understanding your partner, your scenario, your situation as well. I think, you know, sometimes everyone's, you know, scenario is different. So sometimes you have to weigh things and apply wisdom to your specific scenario. 100%. You know, I do know some people that their scenario is different and, you know, it has to run like that. Do you get 100%. What I mean?
No, that's what I'm saying. Some people it works for. Some people actually, that works. But when I think people look at these things on a surface level very much sometimes and just thinks, oh, she's at home, so all she does is cook and clean. But you don't know the dynamics between that person. You don't know that woman could be the fire underneath that man to push him 100%. To even go to work 100%. And achieve the things that he's achieving.
And bro,
so she's not just a housemaid. You know what I'm saying? She's more than
that housemaid, you can't pay a salary. You can't pay a salary for those kind of, bro, like, you know, my kids.
Tough job, man.
To be with them, it's a tough job, bro.
It's a tough job. It's a tough job
to be with the kids.
Sometimes it's an escape to go to work, bro. I'll tell you that for free.
Bro, you'll do that shift. You'll do that shift.
You'll be smiling.
You get what I mean? It's peace of mind.
Freezing out the door, you know. Running out the door later.
100%. I agree. I agree.
You got to lay your cards on the table. You got to lay your cards on the table, and you have to say, you know what? I think that might be where there's some disconnect, because I think early stages you want to make out like you have everything, you know, everything is kind of sorted out, ready to go. But the fact is, we all have things that we want, things that we don't want. There's also fears that we've got as well, you know. And I think sometimes opening yourself up to let your partner know this is where I'm at in this stage of my life. I think that could pay a lot, you know. But I think if we're going to go on pretending like we've got everything all sorted out, she's pretending she's got everything sorted out, and that actually when she moves in, everything's going to be that's where it can all be a bit, you know, just not really connecting. I think you've got to be vulnerable enough to look at each other's flaws and take it from there.
It's humility. I think you just got to be, and the thing is, like you can tell. It's about accountability. Do you get what I mean? Like if you can humbly say where there's a flaw, then you acknowledge you have a problem. That's a changeable individual. Do you understand? But if someone has that problem, you can acknowledge it, but they're not ever mentioning it. Do you get what I mean? I feel like that's where pride creeps in, and that's where the kind of attitude creeps in, and that's where the flaws begin to be cracks in certain things, and then sometimes, you know, for certain people, you know, it's been a shame, but they've not been able to pull back from it, you know? So I just think it's like, whoa, like this is where I'm at, you know, we're together, we're one. Help me, help me here. How do we get to the next level? How do we progress in this situation or in this relationship? And then from there, if you're with the right person, that person will pick you up. Do you get what I mean? All of those things, they're important.
So Rebs, how do you deal with conflict in the marriage? You know, we all face testing times in the marriage, and I think it's something that most people just don't know how to deal with. You know, it's okay just to go in separate rooms and pretend you can sweep underneath the carpet and start again tomorrow. But how do you actually, in a mature way, deal with conflict?
Obviously, I have a few, a lot more older people in my life who want my marriage to work, whether it be the pastors I'm surrounded by, some of the elders, some of the leaders that I'm around who are married for a long period of time. And if something becomes conflict to the level where, it's challenging, I'll never really speak to someone who's not married about that. I would usually tend to share my info with somebody who's successfully married for a long period of time, who I know has been invested over the years into my own personal marriage. And obviously in general, I'll consult of God through prayer, but I think it's also through the actions. I'm very reactive in regards to scenarios. So let's say, for instance, within this pandemic, I remember I left my previous role, and I wanted to just change industry and do something different. And it was a very challenging time, but I managed to secure something, I think, within a month and a half. But for me, that was a very, I was in a position to do it, but as men, sometimes we can tend to worry. And I just had to be very reactive, I feel like one thing I'm learning about life is that if you're a grinder, brother, you will survive, bro. Do you get what I mean? You can survive in the wilderness, my brother, if you're a grinder. So like sometimes, I do understand some people are going through certain scenarios, but it's a mindset. I think sometimes it's down to laziness,
Yeah, I feel like in regards to conflicts, Stu, I would say that I think over the years, I've learned to control my ego, I would say, is the main thing, because I feel like that takes over. Although we're older in age, sometimes you realize that young boy hasn't left you. You know what I'm saying? And you react to certain things like a young boy. Like, it's like, who are you talking to? Huh? You could never be talking. And it's like,
it's like you're on the school playground.
Exactly. You're back on the school playground. You're just literally, you're thrown back into time, bruv. And it's you're on the school playground and, someone stole your pound or something off the floor or whatever. And you're going
do you feel like that's
I think it's a man thing. I think
it is.
We've all got that, if a man speaks to you in a certain way, sometimes you might feel a certain way, and that's your male ego in you saying to you, who's this person talking to? And it's like, when it comes to your missus, sometimes it's like, maybe the tone isn't the way you want it to be. Maybe, they didn't ask maybe they didn't ask nice. Delivery. Yeah, maybe she didn't ask nice enough. But I realized when I removed the ego from, the arguments, then I was able to say, okay, cool. Even if it wasn't in the tone I want to hear it at, let me try and address it in an adult-like way. But, there are some times where you have arguments, things kick off, and bro, I don't want to talk to you for the rest of the night. And I know you're going to say, Ribs, like, you should deal with it on site. But sometimes I just can't bring myself.
Let me tell you, what I say to you is not a reality all the time. Do you get what I mean? Because you got to remember, it's biblically, I know what I'm meant to do, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Do you get what I mean? Like, bro, sometimes we all know, women, they can be loving, but they can be also very unforgiving. Do you get what I mean? And sometimes a wise man will always tell you that we are always in the wrong. Do you get what I mean? So if you want sometimes that marriage to really last, like, sometimes if you look at a relationship from a stance like you're talking to your virgins and whatever, bro, it's not that. Do you get what I mean? Like, you as a man are a true rock in your family, and you know deep down what you have to do to create that peace. Do you get what I mean? You know the things you have to say. You know the things sometimes you have to overlook. Do you get what I mean? And through things like that comes wisdom, because people can't change. Some people can't change immediately. Sometimes with certain individuals, it's a process. It takes time. Do you get what I mean? And
the environment's important as well. The environment's important. And I think this is where, I think you touched on it earlier around, if you had certain problems, you may not go to someone who isn't married to discuss that problem. And I think actually, if with couples, whether you're dating or actually if you're married, I think it does help to have other married friends, and actually, it's not that you're sharing, airing out all your dirty laundry, but I think it's sometimes just having conversations with other married people, other people in couples.
100%.
If a lot of your friendship group aren't in relationship, this way it can be a bit tricky, because you think like you're just on your own dealing with certain issues. And actually, you can't explain to a man who's single or to a woman who's single, because they don't really understand it. It's a bit like the whole thing of
they
explaining to someone who doesn't live with their partner. They may not understand certain things, so
100%.
And I feel like, especially as well, it's, when people say communication as well with your missus, I think, what? Communication is key is one of them sayings that I think just goes over people's heads. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like something just said, like, communication is key. Make sure you communicate. Make sure you communicate with your missus. But as I've gotten older, I've started to realize, like, it's so, like, I need to even over communicate with my missus. Like, to where 100%. It's like, as I said, back to business meetings and stuff like that. Let's sit down at the table it doesn't happen, but let's try and sit down at the table each week and hash it out. Any issues, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the communication is so, so, so key. And I think as men, I don't know if we get that early on. Do you see what I'm saying?
No,
as men, sometimes
we're not the best. Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we're not open books.
Exactly. And we expect, have you ever felt like you expect your missus to know what's in your mind, like what you're thinking?
100%. Oh, bro.
It's like you had an argument with yourself in your mind.
She get it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me leave off a gender. Like I would say, a book to read is 5 Love Languages. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's by someone called Gary Chapman, and you have different, you mentioned about communication. It's about us also studying the woman that we're with. And I would encourage anyone who's listening, anyone who's watching this, look into that book, because, some women, they like it when you help them do the laundry. They like it when you help them do that. Do you get what I mean? Some like quality time. Do you get what I mean? So these are the things you have to study your woman and understand, sometimes doing the whole bouquet of flowers, red petals on the floor might not be her thing. Do you get what I mean? And you'll get the response that demonstrates that. Do you get what I mean? But, sometimes just saying that, don't worry. Today I'm going to do the cooking. She's like, wow, like you've taken a load off her back. Do you get what I mean? Makes a major difference. So that's a wonderful book that a lot of people should read. 5 Love Languages, because everyone has a separate love language. And it's about studying your woman to kind of understand, what type of woman am I actually with? What's really her personality? It's like, there's certain things that I know that if I say that to my missus, I know she's going to snap. So I'm not, let me just park it. Do you get what I mean? Or let me attack it from another angle. Do you get what I mean? So it's all of that.
That's facts, man. I think reading is one of those things that I'm an advocate for anyway, but I feel what you're saying as well, but I feel like for women as well, study your man, because I think the modern man is faced with a lot of challenges nowadays. Do you know what I'm saying? And more than ever, I love it more than anyone that, when I can come home, get a plate of food and all of that, all of that traditional stuff. But there's a lot more that goes on in a man's head nowadays than what he's going to have for dinner when he gets in. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like for women as well, try and understand your man, try and understand what he may be going through, the battles that he's facing, And it's all good. It's an understanding of both. Once you both try to, are working to understand each other as people and as man and female, then I don't think you can go wrong. I don't think you can go wrong at all.
Anyway,
but
you have to know who you're with, definitely.
Yeah, but Rebs,
man.
Rebs, it's a pleasure having you on.
Always.
You've dropped gems as always. Let the people know, where they can find you and what projects you're working on at the moment.
Okay, so I've just released a gospel album called Joy and the Pain. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, everything. Just released a big video for gospel, artists, rappers. There's about 12 man on one song. Something that's not been done for the last 13 years.
That track is fire still, I can't lie.
I love Ring the Alarm. Yeah. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Reblagram. You can find me on Twitter at Reblah_artist, REBLAH_artist, or Reblah, REBLAH, Gram, GRAM. So just love everything that you guys are doing. It's incredible. And I just pray that God continues to bless it. So I love always, bro. My guys.
Respect, bro.
Yeah, always. Thank you, man.
One.
All right, thanks for tuning into another episode, guys. And we'll see you next time.